Welcome back, everybody, to Boston Boy Sports, episode 13. I am, of course, the resident king of Carver. I am Eli Horrigan, and I'm here with my boys, the Beard, Kiefer Bontos. Kiefer, what's up, buddy?
Hoping the Celtics win tonight. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, the good news is you and I did say they would win in 6, so even if they don't win tonight, we can still be right, although I'm with you. Let's just hoist the championship tonight. I'd rather be wrong in this one. And, of course, I'm with the biggest agitator on X and the Miami supervillain, as I always tell you people, Steve Fernandez. Steve, what's up, buddy?
Not much, bud. How you guys been?
I've been all right, man. I've been all right for sure. Today is Monday, June 17th. Happy belated Father's Day to both of you and to all the dads out there. I also want to mention we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. Why don't we go right into our opening takes today? Steve, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to touch on something we haven't touched on yet, but the U.S. Open ended yesterday, so I was going to touch on Rory and his little acting like a child. Yeah, I know he's been on a 10-year major drought. He's been struggling a little bit, looking forward to it. But if you watch what happened yesterday, after 14, he goes into 15 with a 2-shot lead. Bad club choice, overshoots the green, bogeys the hole. 16, he 3-putts, including he lipped out. And it was, I think, 2 feet 9 inches. Bogeys there. 17, he saves par. And then on 18, the bad tee shot, he just chips past the hole. Misses a tough 3.5-footer, bogeys again, and it reminded me of like young Ricky Fowler, is what it reminded me of, just not being able to finish. And then at the end, just not being there to congratulate Bryson DeChambeau, and then to leave early, not even do media. He looked like a child.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's a terrible look. Anytime you want to lose, especially in a sport like golf, which it's a gentleman's game, right? You want to lose a little grace and dignity. And, yeah, it was a real bad look for Rory, and it was a complete meltdown. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys scroll on TikTok at all. He is the butt of about every joke on TikTok right now, and every single one is a screaming toddler, and they put his face over it. It's real.
Yeah, tough to watch.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Good U.S. Open, all in all. Unfortunately, before the U.S. Open, I got a golf tip, Ludwig Aberg, to take him, and I did for the win, and I was feeling real good after day 2. And then he melted down on Saturday.
Yep.
So I didn't feel so great after Saturday, but all right, Keeper, what do you got for us?
So a couple things on the Patriots today. Read something from the 14th that Brandon Ayuk is a trade destination to the New England Patriots because the 49ers don't want him. I was talking to Jalen Daniels about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's that. They got. I mean, I like the idea of it. I just don't think it will happen. But I like the idea. And Booyah in Maine had a rough start to yesterday's session. At the end of it, May had 4 pass attempts, 3 going for touchdowns to Booyah.
So Booty,
maybe things looking up. Yeah, there you go, Booty. Yep, there we go. Butchered that name. Sorry, boys.
No, don't worry about it. I just wanted to make sure we had the right guy.
3 touchdowns. Yeah, no, three touchdowns on 4 pass attempts though at the end of the training. So, maybe you can get some report in there, something that's going to help him out. And Raekwon McMillan was seen on the field today doing workouts from his Achilles injury.
Well, I'll say all good news. The one thing I will say to you is, when you hear the Brandon Ayuk stuff, if you told me about this last off season, I would have said, great, it's another, we're hearing rumors. I put a little more stock into it this year because it's a different front office. So maybe there's a possibility. Let me wait and see what they're going to do. I know if this was still Bill Belichick's team, they would have interest and we wouldn't see him coming. I mean, I think Steve could agree with that one there too.
I do. I agree, but I also think it's still the same money, right? Same guy writing the checks. And I don't see, because with Ayuk, it would come with an extension, and with what people have been signing for, I just don't see something like that. I'd love to be surprised, but I mean.
Yeah, I have.
What does the contract look
much?
What would the contract look like with Jefferson signing that huge contract?
I think 28.
Yeah,
rough estimate.
when Jefferson's the best receiver on the market, he's going to set the market. He's the best receiver in football, so it's not going to be more than him, but it's going to be close to him because Ayuk was that good last year, you know.
Yeah.
So my opening take is Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox deserve better than what ownership's given them. This is a good team. No matter how you slice it. I know, Stevie, you weren't here when I did my trades, but this is a team who just went 2-1 against Philly and 2-1 against the Yankees. They're competing well. They manufactured 7 runs in the victory, the first victory against the Yankees after they lost 8-1. 7 out of their 8 runs were manufactured. No home runs. These are just good hits, well-placed hits. They're just a good team. The last series they dropped was against Baltimore, who's in second place in the East, May 27th to 29th. So we're talking almost 2.5 weeks ago. They've only been swept twice this year. 2 games set in Atlanta in the middle of May, and then once against Baltimore in early April. Like, they compete night in and night out, and they're a young team with a lot of talent. Ownership in the GM has done them no services. They don't help this team, and I believe they're an actual contender to make the playoffs, not to win a title, but they're a piece or two away, and the only news you hear about them is negatively. Like, if they're not doing well, we'll move guys. It's not to add. I did see a story. I don't know how credible. I don't know if it's a blue check mark or what, but them talking about Abreu. I don't want Abreu. I wanted Abreu 5 years ago for first base. Right now, they do need to make a move because this is a good team.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So I agree too. So what I got they're 4-2 in their last 6. They're 6-4 in their last 10. And the top of the order, Duran, Hamilton, Ref, Devers, and Wong, who they've had consecutively there the last 3 games, are all hitting over 270, with 2 of them hitting in the 320 range.
Yeah.
They got guys that can hit. You just need those few pieces, and you covered it. We need a first baseman. First baseman's huge right now.
So, I mean, I'll say this too. We'll do a little Red Sox right now before we jump into the Celtics, because again, the Celtics, we know what they had, an abysmal Game 4, and they got Game 5 tonight. But just for Red Sox, because it was my opening take, we'll just touch on them. Offensively, they are top 10. And this is the top third of the league. They're top 10 in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, runs, hits, RBIs, and stolen bases. From a pitching perspective, they're top 10 in ERA, shutouts, earned runs, home runs, walks, Ks, opponent batting average, whip. They have the worst fielding percentage. They have the most errors, and they have the 3rd most strikeouts when they bat, which every team is striking out a ton. Strikeouts are up, but this is a team worth investing. I mean, they're top 10 in almost every statistical category.
Everything you just said is true. I mean, look, it's still 9? They stole 9 bases last night, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
The most the Yankees have allowed happened since the 50s.
Yeah.
It's something, and we've had this conversation. I stated in one of the past podcasts, I wish they would fire Alex Cora, and not because he's terrible, but because he deserves better than what they're giving him.
Absolutely.
I wanted to get excited about the 4-2 against maybe the 2 best teams in baseball, Philly and New York, and it's so easy. It's not easy to get excited about it for the simple fact that I don't think ownership is going to care. I don't think they're going to do anything to what you're speaking to. So it's so difficult to get excited about it because at the end they're just going to do nothing for them.
I agree, and I came up with 2 other names, and one of them is really blasphemy, and so I apologize for even saying this, because he's from Colorado, and you know how I feel about players from Colorado. But Ryan McMahon, I don't actually think Colorado would trade him. Because they just locked him up through 2027, and it's like a relatively cheap deal, like $12 million, I think. But he's a 3rd baseman, which that means you could stick Devers at the DH spot. Because the Masataka Yoshida, I just don't want a DH who hits 2 home runs and bats .255. I would rather Rafi Devers out of the field, but Ryan McMahon, 29, bats .265, 12 home runs, and 37 RBIs. We only have 2 guys in double digits for home runs, which is Devers and O'Neill. So you need a little more pop in that lineup. Do I think they would actually trade him? No, but they're 20 games below 500. Colorado is in a constant rebuild. The other guy, Alex Bregman, he's $30 million this year. He's $30 million this year.
You're not the first one that name's popped up a couple of times.
And he's a free agent at the end of the year. He's batting .240, which isn't great. 9 home runs, 33 RBIs, but another guy you could put at third base. He's a 30-year-old. He's going to be looking for a deal. It's a rental. This could be similar to Kyle Schwarber when we got him for the playoff run.
Yeah. No, I like them. I like both names. Yeah.
Connor Wong, Rob Refsnyder, David Hamilton, Rafi Devers, Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu. They're all hitting over 270. It baffles me because they're a good team. Duran's having a monster season. Don't ruin this guy's season. 10 triples, 275, 31 RBIs, 15 stolen bases. He's an all-star at this point. He probably will be. Just get these guys some help, and they're not a 500 team every night.
Yep. And that's what they've been begging for. They've been begging for years. I mean, even think of last year. Last year was the same situation. They begged, and we saw what happened when the trade line passed and they did nothing. The team went down. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. They have to. I mean, John Henry needs to just give a little bit. Like you said, 1 or 2 pieces. It's a good team. And I think they're a good team, and I think they're doing more than I ever expected this team to do, which is saying a lot. You're 100% right.
Don't disagree with from any of it.
Yeah, I mean, when I originally had said 90 wins, I didn't think it was just too far ahead. I didn't think it was a playoff team at 90 wins, but now I look at this team differently. I do think that this is a team that could sneak into a wild card berth with a little help. One more guy to highlight, Tanner Houck. If you look at his record, people will see 7-5. He has a 2.08 ERA and a .95 WHIP, which is and he's got the 5th best WAR in baseball among pitchers at 3.1. Just get help.
Jeez.
Just get help. And defensively, they're poor. So a part of me going after third baseman right now is to get Rafi Devers off the field.
Yep. No, we're past the point where ownership can look at it and say, well, it's early in the season. This is a fluke. They're going to fall. We're past that. It's time to recognize that the team is good. And like you said, a couple pieces, do something, at least something just to show your fans and show the team that you care and that you have faith in them. Yeah.
I mean, they have the most errors in baseball, more than the Oakland A's, who are trying to lose. That's insane to me.
Yep.
The Red Sox are actively trying to win, and they can't. They just can't play defense, which is hurting your pitchers as well. Like Cutter Crawford, you watched any of the game last night? He had that monster strikeout on that sweeper against Aaron Judge, and he loses his mind because he's thrilled. These guys are excited. They want to win. I'm begging and pleading for help from John Henry at this point.
Yep. I think everybody is.
Well, I mean, guys, that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have on the Red Sox, and we can go right into some Celtics talk because it's a big game 5. But anything you guys want to talk about on the Red Sox?
I got everything you guys said already right now on my list, so just trade for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just time to make that move and help this team out a bit. Get some major league talent to mix with this young talent. But let's go into Game 5. I was, of course, humbled in Game 4. I said they were going to sweep them. Steve, I want you to talk directly into that camera. Look into the souls of all the Celtics. Hey, tell them something because, we need something for tonight.
In the text chain last night, we were talking a little bit, and I said, and it was such a Father's Day, fatherly thing to say. I wasn't mad at the Celtics for Friday night. I was just disappointed. Yeah. I mean, they looked like they walked in there like they were the 86 Celtics and they believed they could just roll the ball on the floor and they were just going to win. It didn't matter. They could do whatever they wanted to do. And that disappoints me. I wanted them to go in there and finish it. I don't care. You went on home court. You went out there. Went out there. So many things can happen if you lose a game. You don't know what's going to happen. I just wanted them to actually, if they lost by 12, but you saw the fight. I mean, Drew Holiday had 5 turnovers. We had spoken on the last one. He had 0 the first 3 games. Yeah. He had 5 turnovers in game 4. Just sloppy. They looked disinterested, and that's disinterested, and that's just disappointment. That's the best word I can use for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Kiefer, what about you?
I mean, I said they were going to play Game 5 in Boston, so I called it. I didn't know it was going to be that bad. Like, it was – Luka looked like a top 5 defensive player against the Celtics for the first time in his career. So that he actually played – now, that kind of scares me, too, because you think about it. If Luka can actually play defense like that throughout a whole season, you got arguably the best two-way player in basketball. But this was not what it should have happened. It should have been a lot closer. The shooting was off. Everything looked bad that night.
Yeah, it got me, and I tried to stay as positive as possible because I was ready to come in with I had a belly full of steam. I was ready to fight Steve because I had, not physically obviously, but I thought you were going to come in a lot hotter with because I know how you feel about the Celtics in their past, and just things of the nature of like this is the team I thought they were because it's not the team I think they were. And I actually did did some research. Like a Kobe Lakers team lost by 30 plus in a finals. There was San Antonio when they won, they lost by 30. There was a number of teams who have lost by 20 to 30 points in a finals game and still won the finals. So that was my evidence of like I'm not in panic mode just yet. I thought that my disappointment is just as you said, Steve. It's fatherly disappointment. I know that this team's way better. They're 15-3. They were 15-2 before that game. They were 16 games better than anyone in the East. This is a team like Jaylen Brown looks like a different player this year. Drew Holiday looked unflappable. I would not be shocked if reports came out after the series is over that they went out partying in Dallas and they were sluggish. And that's a problem to me because that's a team who still needs to grow up because you need to win 4 games. That's the old Kobe quote, right? Why should I be smiling? We didn't win anything yet, right? Yeah. And that's it. Like you said, Steve, they won Game 3, and I think they thought that the Mavs were just going to roll over and say, just take Game 4 so we can get this thing done. And the Mavs did the exact opposite. Every player on that team looked hungry. So I don't expect that out of them tonight. Could I see the Mavericks winning tonight? Absolutely. After I saw that fight, and if the Mavs won tonight, my nervous meter would start moving. I still wouldn't be overly too nervous because I do still think the Celtics are better. But if the Celtics come out and lay an egg like they did in the last game, I would be real nervous.
Yeah. Talking about that, my buddy, I stopped by and I said that to him, and he goes, "If they lose tonight, I'm scared it goes 7."
Oh yeah,
and I think that's the truth. It's going back to Dallas, coming back home if that's the case. But I don't want to see that tonight. I want to see them play tonight. Just finish it off. Just 5 games, finish it off. I don't care if I'm wrong about the 6th game. Just finish it. Don't play sluggish. Play D. Shoot the ball right. Drive to the hole. Get it done.
Yeah. Watching that Mavericks team, it gave me a feeling of, do you remember the 30 for 30, the 4 days in October? Kevin Millar, don't let us win tonight because if he's like, then we win tonight, we got Pedro and then we got Schill and we can throw anyone in there. Don't let us go there. 7. And anything can happen in Game 7. And that's how I felt like you opened the door back for the Mavericks. Don't lose tonight on your home court because now you have to fly back to Dallas. And now the pressure goes all back on your shoulders because if you lose tonight and then you have to go back to Dallas with all that pressure on your shoulders, I can start seeing them pull up old, bad Celtic ISO ball, which is what scares you the most, Steve.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the the thing that's funny is you listen to like Derek Lively, he's talking about, they solved the Celtics. And then to listen to Jason Kidd on his press conference after the game talking about how, well, we were hungry, we wanted to win. They were here to celebrate. Oh, they were ready to celebrate. Like they might have something. And the only reason my name is nervous, yes, a bit, it's not because of that one game. Did that concern me? Of course. I mean, it should concern everybody, but they lost the 4 quarters in that game, but they also lost the fourth quarter in game three. Yeah. So they've lost 5 consecutive quarters. So it's not just one bad game. I mean, there's reason to believe that they figured out something in Dallas, and that started after the third quarter of game 3, because it's been 5 consecutive quarters now. So it leaked into another game as well. So that's where it makes me a little more nervous, because I know everybody says, well, if Dallas does it again tonight, I'll be nervous. Well, they've done it on 2 separate occasions already. So for me, that's why, because it's stretched into a second game. But yeah, you still feel good. We need to win 3. And, they need to win 3. We only need to win 1. So you still have that good feeling about it, some of it. But yeah, I mean, that game it wasn't so much what Dallas did. It's what the Celtics didn't do. I mean, they just looked, like we said already, like they thought they had already done it. And like I said in the text, they were talking like they had already done it. I mean, them talking about how, where they would stack up with other teams, Celtics teams from the past. They got a little too far with it. And that's where, like I said, I want to see Drew Holiday and I want to see Al Horford say, hey, nothing's finished. This isn't done. We have to do this tonight. We have to get back in. Like, you need the veteran guys to step up and say something.
What I would love to see tonight is the Celtics come out with a fire, especially Tatum, especially. If you're going to be the best player on this team, which, we've all said it's 1A, 1B between him and Brown. One of them has to step up tonight and hit, show me a 15-point first quarter out of one of your stars tonight. Like, I want you to be so locked in. Like, they have a chance. Obviously not over a long span of time, but be Tom Brady for one game. Locked in, laser focus. You saw even Tom 28-3 on the sideline. Laser focus. We have to be laser focused. And that he had already made a mistake in that Super Bowl. He'd thrown a pick 6. So I need one of those guys to have that Tom Brady mentality of, I'm laser focused. I want this title. There's nobody on the planet who wants it more than me. And if I have to do it alone, find your shots. Don't be selfish and put up bad shots. But Jason Tatum's my guy I'm watching tonight in the first, because I want him to come out and just dominate. Like that picture behind you of him, a 19-year-old Tatum dunking on LeBron James. I need that guy to come out tonight.
Yeah, you do. And you need Brown to come out. You need Kyrie. Kyrie needs to what happened to Kyrie needs to happen in the first 3 games. You need to shut him down tonight. Kyrie plays a lot off what Luka does. They really need to shut him down tonight, and he plays awful in Boston. So we could just pray on that they're actually going to do something to him tonight.
So I did want to touch on Kyrie too, because there was a lot, what he did was so impressive. This is a different guy. He's a different mentality guy. The press conference that he did, Barstool gets a hold of it, and everyone does. Did you guys think it made him look bad?
I didn't.
I didn't either. He said Boston's a cult, and people are saying, "Oh, he's calling it a cult." Dude, it is a cult. Everyone, listen. You know how I know Boston's a cult? They didn't want to trade Marcus Smart. They thought Marcus Smart was but that's why they called them. That's why we're green teamers, because we're a cult. I didn't think anything he said was that bad. I actually thought it showed him in a different light. He was completely centered and just yeah, I went in there and thought they had to bend to me. I should have been the one to earn their respect. It is a cult. Celtics fans are a cult. It just is what it is. I mean, that's why we're green teamers. That's why guys will say dumb things. They joke about it, but it's you can't trade Sam Hauser. That's something that will come out of a Celtics fan's mouth. One thing that drives me insane right now, because I've had arguments with people to the point where I want to yell and scream at them, but then I realize that that's not a responsible reaction, that tell me very seriously, I don't think they wanted to win game 4. They wanted to win it at home. These are professional athletes. They wanted to lose. You're out of your mind. But these are Celtics fans.
Yeah, I cannot stand that mentality. And you had people even before Game 4 saying, I hope they lose because I want them to win on the parquet. That is the dumbest thing to ask for. And I don't want to say why. But, you never want to wish for more games. Ask the Miami Heat. Because Jimmy Butler might have been on the court in the playoffs if they didn't have to play in the play-in. Yeah. So it's never wish for extra games. Just get it done. You can celebrate when you get back to Boston. I can't stand that mentality.
I wish for an extra game just because of that game 5. That if they played in Boston game 5, you know that they were going to come out with that fire. And I don't care. You guys can hate on me all you want. I said it. They're going to play game 5. It's going to happen. And now I'm seeing it. Now they just need to finish it.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea. Like, people want to see them win at home. But the narrative that was spun after they I think them getting beat like that, and I said in the text chain, like, hopefully that woke them up to realize you're not as good as you think you are. You haven't won anything. But this narrative and I'm not directed at you, Kiefer, this is directed at people I work with, that the narrative that they didn't want to win, like, you could tell they just didn't want to win. They didn't want, and I'm like, they definitely wanted to win. They're like, no, I think they wanted to lose that game to come home. So you think they wanted to lose an NBA Finals game and not win you think they care that much? As professional athletes, none of them are from Boston, Massachusetts. None of them care about Boston like you think they do. They want to win a championship. They don't care if it's in Mexico City, in Dallas, or in Toronto. They just want to win the championship.
Yep, 100%.
Go ahead, Steve.
You know, I hear it sounds so crazy to me. Like, professional athletes will go in there and just purposely throw a game just to play at home. But then you hear, like, well, obviously we know the area code 617. Well, today's the 17th of June. It's 6/17. The 08 team won on 6/17. So it's exactly 16 years ago today that they won in 08. So it's like you hear all these crazy things and you're like, it's not. I don't understand it. It's crazy to think that way.
Yeah.
Well, so
that one's actually
what it was. It wasn't so much 7 thing or any of that. Luka was coming in that game on game 4, pissed off. You saw what he did that first half. For what was it, 25 points in the first half? He looked like he was going to drop 50.
Yeah,
You knew that happened.
Yep.
So
I was dropped 29 and 3/4.
I mean,
it just.
So, and I'll say this too, like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Kiefer, at all. The Celtics shot 36% from the field. I don't think you're going to see that again. I do think that this was just a lazy, sloppy game from them. I think that they went in there and thought, we're going to win. They're just going to let us win. They don't have any fight. We've beat them 3 games in a row. We're already champions. And I think that, to me, is where Joe Mazzulla takes a hit from me. Like, you had a chance to sweep. You still got to win the title, and they still should win the title. And if they don't win a title now you really, like, we were talking about this before they even made the finals. Like, what if this team doesn't win a title? Like, now you were up 3-0 in the NBA Finals and couldn't get it done. Now it's a big problem, right?
We said that they should think about either checking the players or the coaches if they don't win a title this year. But now to what you're saying, if they don't win a title because they blew a 3-0 lead in the finals, that's so much worse than anything we have discussed prior to this. You have to check everything.
Where would this rank if it happened, Kiefer? And we'll start with you because I keep cutting you off. Where would this rank in Boston failures?
That comes close to that Yankee series when the Red Sox lost and didn't go to the World Series. It comes into a disappointing team. It's like the Patriots losing to the Giants twice. The team's set up to win. You gotta win. You don't win. The Patriots that went 16-0 throughout the regular season. They end up losing the Super Bowl. I cried. I don't even gonna lie to you guys. I cried that day. I was like, this is the most upsetting thing in my life right now. I was a kid. I was so upset.
Yeah.
Now I look at it and I'm like, that's where this is going to be. If they lose a 3-0 lead and lose the series completely, then you need to do a whole overhaul and figure out what the hell is wrong.
Steve, So let me ask the more poignant question. On a scale of like where this ranks, would this be worse than the Patriots losing an undefeated season?
Looking at the Patriots now, it's really difficult. Well, it's really difficult to say yes because I look at the way that I looked at the Patriots, like Kiefer was talking, we looked at it differently. When I was younger, I thought it was the biggest thing, the biggest upset. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. But then you look back at it and you're like, well, those Giants were kind of like the 0-1 Patriots. Remember they played the Rams, and after they played the Rams, they all said, this is the team we hope we don't have to see again this season. Well, that's kind of what happened. The Patriots played the Giants week 17. Tough game, but they win, and then they got beat. I mean, the Giants were just doing what they were doing at that time. So for me, it would be, I think it would be the worst. The other ones I'm thinking of, like Buckner, like there's other things I'm trying to call in, but I think this would absolutely be the worst.
To me, I agree. It's the worst because anyone can win one game. And the Giants played the better game against the Patriots in that undefeated season. Now, they almost beat them in the regular season. And again, that was the same thing, that mentality of hopefully we don't have to see them. Hopefully someone knocks them off because the Patriots were leaps and bounds better than anyone that season. Then they play for one game, the Giants. You can tell me, people can be mad if they want to. The Patriots were a better team all season than the Giants. Okay, based on their record, based on everything they did. But it doesn't matter how good you are during a season. It's one game. It's the Super Bowl. They were the worst team in the Super Bowl, and the Giants took advantage. So all the credit to them. If you go up 3-0 in a series, and then you let someone run the table 4 in a row against you, I do think that's worse because I think that says you weren't even better than them at all. You were never better than them. They exposed you because you couldn't even steal one. A team the Oakland A's could win by accident. You know what I mean? There's teams that can win. You win tonight. Game 4 was an accident. We probably never talk about it again because they won the title. But if you lose a series, Game 4 is going to live in folklore.
Yeah, and it's worse, before Kiefer goes, it's worse than the Bruins blowing it to Philly, in my opinion. That's the only other one that's kind of on the same grounds, if you will, because obviously the 3-0. But this would be so much worse to me than the Bruins doing it to Philly.
Of course, it's the finals.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. Now you got my head spinning. Now I'm praying to God, jeez, man. You guys just had a mess with my head today. Scary.
Well,
already stressing
I will
enough.
say this. My nerves meter is only at about a 3 right now. Like I'm not overly nervous. Like you got blown out in Dallas. Good thing that didn't happen. Don't get blown out in Boston because even a loss tonight, my meter goes about 5. Like because if you have to go back to Dallas, that's really terrible. But I don't want to get too emotional on the loss right now because in my mind, and when I watched that loss and I was stewing in my own anger, I was thinking, if this wasn't the Celtics, let's say this was Dame and Giannis in Milwaukee, they're up 3-0 against Dallas, and this loss happens, I think my mindset would be like, oh, great, they extended, and now they'll get their asses kicked in Milwaukee. Like, they'll come back. So I didn't want to get too emotional with it because the Celtics are a good team, and I know they're a good team, but you have to finish tonight. Like, this to me is a must-win game.
Yep.
Kiefer?
Agreed.
All right. Well, any prediction? You care to make any predictions with tonight? Are they hoisting a trophy tonight, or are they heading back to Dallas? Stevie, Celtics in 7?
I think Dallas wins tonight. I think they do, and it's like I said, it's because there's a 5th quarter that's involved in how long Dallas has done this to them. If there wasn't that overlay from Game 3, I could say it's a one-off, but it's not a one-off because it filtered into another game. So I got to say, I think Dallas wins tonight.
Kiefer?
Celtics by 10.
Celtics by 10.
I hope you're right.
I am going to say Celtics, and I want to be bold and say it's not close, but I think it's close. I think Dallas showed me something in Game 4, so I think over-under, if it was 10.5, I would take the under. But I do think the Celtics finish tonight. I believe even with the overlay, that this is a team that should have been woken up by losing 122 to 84, by absolutely getting kicked in the mouth. This is a team who realizes, all right, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. We need to finish this. So I do think they win, but I think they win in a single-digit victory.
I hope either of you are right.
I hope we are too. One other NBA take I want to get from you guys, because I had a as heated as argument you can have in a business setting with someone who told me, prove them wrong, nobody's been able to, and I thought any bit of information and statistic that I could, and I feel like the person was willing to die on the hill, and they kept telling me there's so many people who feel like this, and I'm on the other side of it. He was telling me that Giannis Antetokounmpo is overrated. And I want to know what side of the fence you're on, because I asked Hal, and he didn't give me any conceivable, like, no reasoning. He just kept saying, I'm telling you he is. And I said, well, he scores 30 points per night, 12 rebounds, 7.5 assists. He's an all defensive player twice. He's an MVP. He's an NBA champion. And he's like, no, he's overrated. And I'm like, okay, so I want to know, am I crazy in this? Where do you sit on the fence? Is Giannis overrated?
I'm going to say, I think there's a possibility he's underrated.
Okay.
And perfect. I say that, well, look at the three of us have all said it's either Luka or it's Jokic that are the best player in the league, right?
Yeah.
We've never mentioned Giannis. And Giannis is a guy that plays defense, and neither of those, other than game 4, Luka doesn't play defense, and neither does Jokic. The guy, like you said, all defensive teams, I think he has a DPOY. Don't quote me on that, but I think he does. Like, you're talking about a guy that might be underrated because nobody mentions him with those other two guys.
So I will say this. I looked up the player efficiency rating. He's number 2 behind Jokic. So, I was in like as heated as it can be. Like, I'm like, and the guy keeps telling me, no, there's so many people who feel like this. And I'm like, no, he was 2019, 2020. He was defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
He's an eight-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, 5-time All-Defense. He was the All-Star MVP, which doesn't matter. He made the NBA 75th anniversary team. He's an NBA champion. He was an All-Rookie. He was most defensive, and he was the Finals MVP. I kept saying to him, where is he overrated? I don't understand, because I think he's phenomenal. He's one of the best players in the league. And he's like, there's so many people who feel this way. And I'm like, I thought I was going mad because it's just me and one other person. There's nobody else around. And I'm like, I gotta get Stevie and Kiefer's take on this, because, Kiefer, am I crazy?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
If you watch Giannis play, you can tell he's definitely not overrated. The guy can ball.
Yeah.
Straight up. Watched up. Basically, him and Holiday carried the Bucks to a championship, even though they were one of the best teams in the league. It was the fact that they still made it. Giannis proved his point. He's not overrated. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Not trying to be mean.
No, I want you to be mean, because that's how I felt in it. And I'm like, by working in a professional setting, and I'm like, I wanted to be like, are you the dumbest fuck? Oh, excuse my language. Are you the dumbest guy in the world? Because I pulled up his final stats too, and I want to say he averaged 30 plus points a game, like 15 rebounds and like 8 assists. Like, it was outrageous. I'm like, where is he overrated? And he just kept saying to me, go ahead.
Didn't he drop 50 in the closeout game?
I could go look quickly if you'd like. But I was just like floored with the idea, and he just kept saying, like, there's a lot of people who feel like this, and I'm like, who feels like this? This is all I want to know.
Yeah, he dropped 50. 50, 14, and 14. He dropped in the closeout to win the title.
No, and that's against the Golden State, right?
No, Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. That was the Phoenix year. I'm sorry. Yeah, Phoenix. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, he's the guy's a phenomenal talent. Okay, so I'm not crazy. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy before we moved on, because I had that debate yesterday, and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I've been watching the guy play for 10 years. I've never once said, boy, he's really overrated. Like, Milwaukee made a mistake on this one.
No, like I said, I could fight the case that he's underrated because he's never mentioned as the top guy. And I think maybe his name should be in there as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last thing.
I want to mention something real quick, too, because even when I say you called this, you said the Mavs are missing one piece, right? One piece that they need to. So I heard and I read that Dallas wants to plan to draft Bronny to lure LeBron for his final season to go play with the Mavs. Now, final season with the Mavs, Bronny obviously on the bench. Do you think that they could win a championship with one season with LeBron?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
If they did that, they did that, the good news is Bronny would average about under 2 minutes a game, so it really wouldn't matter. Kyrie and LeBron would get to play together again, which is huge. But I think Bronny would benefit from having his dad as a teammate working with him, or it would completely go the other way. But I would love that because I do think, I mean, Dallas is already very good. You add LeBron James, you're going to get other guys to go there anyway. Other stars will it's the same thing that happened in Miami. It's the same thing that happened in Boston. When you get these big threes, all these guys says, I'll play for the league minimum and go play. But what a great series. Imagine if you could have Celtics Dallas Part 2, except LeBron's in Dallas. I mean, that'd be a fun series to watch.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Especially like LeBron, if you knew it was his last year. I mean, he's part of the Fenway Sports Group, he wants to buy a franchise with John Henry. So he actually has loose ties to Boston. Now he's got to beat Boston in his final season to win an NBA championship. That would make for great television. So hopefully the script writers can do that. I obviously joked if I believed that anything was scripted, I wouldn't watch sports. I just like all the conspiracy theories out there. Did you see the other trade there before we move on from basketball? The Anthony Davis trade that's being talked about. No, Anthony Davis to the Bulls for LaVine, DeRozan, and 2 firsts, I think it was. I like the huffs and puffs.
If you're doing get rid of LeBron too anyway and just start the rebuild.
I mean, if you're rebuilding with LaVine and DeRozan's a good player. He's not a great player. He'll be a Hall of Famer because the NBA Hall of Fame's a joke. But I like Zach LaVine. And then if you get 2 first-round picks too, those could be good first-round picks for LA because we all know that Anthony Davis is made of glass.
Well, I'm trying to figure that. I mean, that's a terrible defensive team, DeRozan and LaVine.
Yeah.
I like DeRozan a lot more than most people do, and it's only because I looked at a statistic, and he and Steph Curry have about the same amount of career points. They came in at the same time, and DeRozan doesn't shoot threes. And they have dude, it is so close for their career points. It's like within hundreds last I saw.
Really? That actually surprises me.
I was shocked by that, and that kind of I was like, it looked kind of funny to me. But, yeah, the only reason, is I think Anthony Davis is from Chicago. Yeah. So I think that's probably one of the reason that it kind of makes sense. I don't know what Chicago would be doing with that, but I mean, hey, I think it would be cool to watch, cool to see, and see how it goes down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize, I always knew DeMar DeRozan was a good player. He was good in Toronto, but I guess I never realized that he scored as much as he did. I knew he was, he was a guy who averaged in the 20s, but like you said, he doesn't shoot threes. This is the NBA where everyone wants to shoot the three. So, he's averaged 21 points a game, and he's never not playing. Though I'm looking at his stats right now. The least amount of games he's played in a season, 61, and that was in 2020.
Yeah, he's the king of the mid. He's the king of the mid game. That's what he does. But I just pulled it up. So Steph Curry's 35th in NBA history with 23,668. DeMar DeRozan's 36th. He has 23,582.
Wow, that is
so 86 points a pop. And they came in the same season.
Wow, that's actually one of the more impressive stats. I think you are our Mr. Stat King on this show. I'll say that because you pull out some. Those are real ones.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that sheds a whole new light on DeMar DeRozan. Let's bring him to Boston. Someone's got to replace Horford, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to Kiefer's final take. Let's get into the Patriots a little bit. I do have some Patriots thoughts, and Kiefer, it was your opening thought. I do want to touch on Kayshon Boutte because this is per the Herald. I was reading up on mini camps and the stuff that's going on. So these are the rumors that I've kind of heard. Kayshon Boutte was on there, players to look for. Working as the X receiver, 5 catches on 7 targets and 4 touchdowns. This guy was formerly a 5-star recruit out of LSU. I don't know what the issues were down at LSU, but obviously he dropped. If used correctly, I think this could be somebody who could be instrumental in the development of maybe Drake May as well, like to have a young receiver that you can count on. I know we all watched last year against Philly in game 1. Like, if he just drops the toe, maybe they beat Philly and the year goes a different way. We don't, obviously that team was bad, but, that comes with experience, right? So, I mean, Kayshon Boutte, I loved your opening take because I liked Kayshon Boutte when he was at LSU.
Yeah, no, so it was good to me to hear because he didn't play great when Jacoby was playing at quarterback, but when they had that, I guess the beginning of the start of the session was really bad for both quarterbacks and 11-on-11s. They moved to 7-on-7s. May took over for Jacoby, and then he throws 3 touchdowns on 4 attempts.
Yeah.
All the boots. So it shows you something, a little bit of progress. The 11-on-11 thing scares me a little bit, but to see that it's just spring, they're still learning. It showed me a little bit more that maybe we're not going to be too bad here later on in the season.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, and Steve, I'll let you go too. I don't think any of us is under any illusion that this is a good team. We know they're in a rebuild. The promising things when you see stuff like that is, okay, that he looked good in it. We don't know that he'll be a good NFL player, but if they're making strides, at least that's something. Steve, what have you heard? Anything Patriot related?
Yeah, no, I'll just stick on that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him, but I like that he's looking good. I like Kayshon Boutte. I did. And to see, like, if he's clicking with Drake May, that's great. And the only thing I wanted to add is it wasn't his fault on the sideline. Max Jones threw that ball too late. So don't blame the receiver for that one.
Well, I agree. So I will go right into it for their look. There's 6 guys, really 7, but Jacoby Brissett was their number 1. They said he's just a team leader. He's the QB1, from the coaches. But then Brissett himself, with the coaches, number 2 was Drake May. And like you said, it was the 7-on-7s. He went 18 for 24 on day 1. He's getting the number 2 reps now. He was 15 for 17 on the final day with 4 touchdowns. Showed a lot of progress. Brissett's still the starter, but they said May had actually a better final day. And I guess there was a situation, they said 1 second on the clock, on the 5-yard line, touchdown to win the game. It was a touchdown. Drake made a Jalen Polk. So promising to see. They put him in a situation where you have to make this throw, and Drake May did. He throws a touchdown. Again, spring. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but those are good things. Kayshon Boutte, I touched on. Demario Douglas, they said he looks great in the slot, which we know. I think we all like Douglas. Per Gerard Mayo, Keon White looks to have taken a positive leap, he said, in year 2. Not just a step, a leap.
That last podcast.
That was one of your takes on the last podcast. So Keon White is looking better. And then Christian Gonzalez, they said, is 100% healthy. He's taking reps at cornerback 1. They also said Alex Austin looks really good as well. Steve, I know you're a big Alex Austin guy.
I like Alex Austin more than Christian Gonzalez.
Well, I can say from what I read in the Herald, Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, and Alex Austin look like they are the 1, 2, 3. And they said, depending on Jones or Austin, one of those guys will be the slot. But those 3 are your top 3. And they said Gonzalez being 100% healthy is taking the reps at cornerback 1.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think I like Austin better just because of how much people talk about Christian Gonzalez and talk him up.
Yeah.
And I get so absolutely sick and tired of it. The guy's played 3.5 games. And
Yeah.
I can't take it seriously until I see a bigger. But people are already saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. They're comparing him to like Richard Sherman, and I can't take the hype until I see it or more of it anyway.
I'm with you there too, because it's a long fall from grace. When you're put on that, it's like when you hear a movie is so great and you hear it over and over and over again. I'm expecting a masterpiece, and then I see it, and it's just a good movie, and I think, boy, this was talked up a lot. I don't get it. So I understand where you're coming from there. It's 3 games, so we need to see something. This might as well be a rookie season for him.
Yeah, correct.
And then on the trending down side of things, none of these are going to be a shock to any of you, but Gerard Mayo has said he intends to take 4 quarterbacks to the preseason, but it is becoming very clear Bailey Zappi is the odd man out to make the roster. I don't think any of us are shocked by that. Bailey Zappi, no one thought he was the future. You drafted 2 rookies. I don't think they're going to cut any of them, and you signed Jacoby Brissett to be your starter. I think it's safe to say Bailey Zappi, if he's not on the practice squad, he will be wearing another uniform. What do you guys feel about that?
I completely agree.
Yeah, I think it was done draft night.
Yeah. The number 2, again, not a shock. This is a poor free agency decision. KJ Osborne. They said he's playing. He's the Patriots' Z receiver, and every look that he was out there. Didn't separate from the pack at all. Didn't impress anyone. No major impact. So that's obviously trending down. We know we have wide receiver issues, and the third one we will stay with wide receiver was Tyquan Thornton. He missed the final day of minicamp. I believe it's just time to cut bait on Thornton. I think it's been time to cut bait. Steve, you've been on the forefront of that. So
yeah, it was a horrible pick. I thought it was a horrible pick when it happened. Now you throw in the fact of, you see a couple of guys who were drafted after him were actually respectable and decent wide receivers in the league. The guy, everything you saw, I think he has still the smallest wrist they've ever measured at the combine or something crazy. Super tiny hands. He's an old Oakland Raiders draft pick. Yeah. Draft the fastest guy you can find. They were infamous for that. And that's what I see from that one, man.
Wasn't that what Bill Belichick said after, too? We needed to get faster, so we drafted a fast guy. Something like that.
Yep.
And last but not least, on the trending downside of things, Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones, who's 5'8", he's a little guy. He came out and said he was 100% healthy. However, he was limited throughout OTAs and minicamp, so he's clearly not healthy. So he's trending in the wrong direction. And I'm a guy who likes Marcus Jones. I like to see a good undersized guy who's, he made some splashy plays. He's a gadget type guy, but trending in the wrong direction for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Kiefer, give me your thoughts on the Patriots now that OTAs and minicamp's over. Spring practices are done. Overall, where does the needle move for you? Are you happy with what you've seen and read, or are you still just completely down on this team?
I'm not completely down. Like I said, I think I said this when I first came on with you guys. Their defense is going to be a force. That's what's going to carry this team most games, and you're going to see it. I like what I hear from the quarterbacks. The wide receivers still scare me because you have no idea what's going to happen. But I'm not as scared as I was, but I'm still saying they're only winning 6 games.
Yeah. All right. And I need to get the opposite reaction of that. So, Steve, how do you feel about the Patriots?
I think there's a chance the defense could be good. It could be. It could be. My only kickback on that is, you lost what everybody believes to be the greatest defensive mind of all time. So, it's difficult to think that a rookie coach is going to come in and be able to at least keep it where it was. You might see a little fall because of that. Guys like Matt Judon getting older. But I think they could be middle of the pack. That's kind of where I have them, like 12 to 15, probably 16, somewhere in there. Quarterback wise, I think we're trending towards Drake May starting. I think that's kind of where it's headed. Do I like it? I don't. I don't. Some of the
John
greatest quarterbacks of all time didn't play initially, right out of the gate. I kind of like it there instead. Because you're still hearing the same things about his footwork. The guy, he's never really run a play action. He's never really been under center. So getting your footwork, not being in a shotgun, but coming from under center is a whole thing. And I will kind of want to see him progress. Maybe start around week 7, week 8, somewhere in there would be kind of what I'd like to see. Outside of that, okay. I'm still 4-13, 5-12. That's where I'm kind of staying.
Okay, well then, so my take on them is I'm trending up on them, and by trending up, I had them winning 4 games. I could see them win 5 games, so that to me is trending up for me. I like what I'm hearing. I actually don't think May's going to start. I think that they're pretty hard on that. Brissett's their starter. I want May to start, but I think you're right, Steve. I think May will take over at some point. I don't know if it's week 7 or week 12. It's going to be, if they're 0-7, they might make the move to him. If they're 3-4, they might stick it out with Jacoby for a little while and see what happens. But I do think you'll see Drake May at some point. I'll be happy with that. But I am overall, I'm happy. I'm not surprised that Bailey Zappi trending down. I don't care if you cut him right now. He's not a guy that I see in the Patriots' future. KJ Osborne isn't a guy I think any of us even wanted. He wasn't on the radar of. This is another sub 6 foot guy. It was a dumb decision in free agency. Tyquan Thornton, like you said, Steve, it's been time to cut him. He has concrete stone hands, and he runs super fast. Great. We'll see at the Olympic trials then. I don't need you on a football field. And Marcus Jones he's a gadget type guy. If he can be healthy, you can do some fun plays with him. But that's a play that a kid watches on TikTok and says, that was awesome. It's not a play that's going to win you a game. So I like hearing guys that I think are going to matter are trending up, which is Brissett, May, Booty, Douglas, White, Gonzalez, and Austin. Those are guys who are going to make impacts. So that's who I like hearing. Didn't hear much about Polk or Baker. And those are 2 guys who I really want on the field. So we'll see. But overall, like I said, I'm not as down on everyone as I was. Go ahead, Kiefer.
On CBS Sports on the team page, they actually talk about them being the 1-2 right now, and everybody else is playing for a spot with Bourne waiting to come back from his ACL.
Yeah.
So to hear that shows me that they're actually going to play them and give them some reps, which is good.
Yeah. I think the scariest thing, I think, for all of us as Patriot fans is what's the offensive line going to look like? Because they didn't address left tackle. Somebody has to protect Brissett, because I've been down on them, and I know I like Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback. I think he's a professional quarterback who can play in the league. But it's not going to matter if no one's blocking for him.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if they're still talking about moving Onwenu to the left side or whatever that discussion is. But he is, like you said, I want to say like a Chad Pennington. He's like that type of quarterback to me. He's not going to make too many mistakes. He's going to try to play safe, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl. He's that kind of guy. And You're right. I mean, they need somebody to protect him, and doing pretty much nothing. I mean, obviously through the draft, but doing nothing else is, to me, kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. It was the one piece that you knew you needed. You needed receiver help. You needed that stuff. But nothing is anything without a line in front of the guy that's got to read the play and throw the ball. So, that it's the line. It has to be the biggest concern.
And I don't love moving Onwenu to left tackle, because Onwenu, they said when he came back, he was one of the best right tackles in football. So what you're essentially doing is you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's like, we'll just take this guy who's really good at another position. We'll put him on the left side. Okay, well, now right tackle's a position of need. So it doesn't really matter. Like, you have a guy who's good at right tackle. Find me a good left tackle. And they didn't do that. And that, I think, is one of the things that scares me the most, because what happens if you have bad left tackle play in week 1, series 2, Jacoby Brissett takes a nasty sack because the left tackle can't block. Now you're forcing Drake May in, maybe when he's not ready, even though I want him in. If he's not ready and the coaches don't think he's ready, throwing him in after a guy takes an injury, it doesn't help his confidence.
Not at all.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else with the Patriots, I think we'll wrap it up right there. Anything else? Any other takes from you guys? Final takes for the day for the show?
Go Celtics.
Yeah, go Celtics. Get this done tonight.
Please.
All right. Well, I know them from what I've read about Dallas. Dallas is hoping they win tonight. I don't want them to win, so I'm going to say go Celtics as well. We will be back next Sunday. We will actually be doing an NBA draft, all-time draft. The three of us are going to go in a snake draft, picking our all-time players, 10 players each. So tune in for that. It's going to be great. My team will be better than both of theirs because I am a king and these are the peasants. However, tune in for that. So much more. Hopefully, the next time you hear from us, we're talking about a Celtics championship, the Red Sox making a move, and the Patriots potentially getting a left tackle, which I don't think will happen. We are partnered with Jonesin for Sports. We make sports better. Kiefer, final word.
Go Celtics.
All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good rest of your night. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll talk to the rest of you guys next time. Keep on coming back.
Have a good one, boys.